What is philosophy, and how does it differ from science? It's notoriously difficult to answer this question, as there's no widely accepted definition of either discipline. The word philosophy is derived from two Greek words, philo, which means loving or fond of, and sophia, which means wisdom. So etymologically, a philosopher is literally a lover of wisdom. While this is important to know, it doesn't exactly explain what contemporary philosophy is, nor does it help us to understand how philosophy differs from modern science. We can gain a better understanding of what differentiates philosophy from science by comparing and contrasting two different sets of things. First, the types of questions that science is concerned with versus the types of questions that philosophy is concerned with. And second, the methods and tools that scientists use to answer scientific questions versus the methods and tools that philosophers utilize to answer philosophical questions. Here's a paradigmatic list of scientific questions. I randomly selected these questions, and they are in no particular order, but they represent the types of questions that scientists are interested in answering. How do plants convert light energy into chemical energy? What is the chemical composition of water? How far is the moon from the earth? What causes high blood pressure? What are the signs of an impending earthquake? Most of us are familiar with the methods and tools that scientists use to answer such questions. Scientists use observational devices, such as microscopes and telescopes, to observe molecules, cells, and planets, and devices such as blood pressure cuffs and seismographs to measure a person's blood pressure, or measure the strength of seismic waves, and computers to organize, process, and analyze the data collected from such devices. Importantly, scientists use methods such as the following to answer scientific questions: empirical observation, testing, measuring, statistical analysis, building and studying mathematical models. Without a doubt, these methods are fantastic at addressing scientific questions, but are the tools and methods of science well suited for answering every type of question that one might ask? Arguably, they are not. To see why, let's now consider a list of the paradigmatic types of questions that philosophers are concerned with. What is knowledge? What is beauty? Do religious beliefs require justification? Is the mind identical to the brain? What is justice? Should we send aid to refugees? It's very difficult to see how the tools and methods of science on their own could answer questions such as these. We can't exactly observe or measure concepts such as knowledge, beauty, or justice. No matter how many neurons we study or brain states we correlate to experiences, such as pain or pleasure, this type of empirical observation alone has not and does not appear to be capable of telling us whether the mind is identical to the brain. Likewise, it is unclear what computer algorithm or laboratory experiment we might construct that would tell us whether or not our religious beliefs require justification. And no amount of statistical analysis can tell us how we ought to behave, what actions are right or wrong or virtuous or morally obligatory. A sociologist can observe whether or not countries do assist refugees, but they can't observe whether or not people ought to send aid to refugees. Philosophers are interested in these types of questions, the questions that science alone is not equipped or designed to answer. Questions that, in principle, scientific methods and tools could never answer without the aid of philosophy. But this naturally leads to an important question. What tools and methods do philosophers use to answer the types of questions that they are interested in? While this list is not exhaustive, here are some important tools and methods that philosophers commonly utilize to address philosophical problems. critical thinking and logic, conceptual analysis, genealogy of ideas, thought experiments, hermeneutics. In the coming weeks, I will explore each of these philosophical tools and methods in detail.